Let's turn to the big international story. The reclusive North Korean government, which practices, many believe, an extreme form of communism, today sent shockwaves across the world when it claimed it had conducted a hydrogen bomb test. The claim surfaced after a tremor was reported at the site where Pyongyang regularly conducts its nuclear tests. North Korea's neighbors, Japan and South Korea, have reacted predictably with alarm. So have the US and India.
What was first felt as an earthquake near a nuclear site in North Korea soon turned out to be the testing of a hydrogen bomb. North Korea announced that it successfully conducted a hydrogen bomb test, triggering tremors of 5.1 magnitude. This was condemned by its neighbors and other countries around the world. Japan called it a threat to national security.
North Korea's nuclear test is a serious threat to our nation's security and absolutely cannot be tolerated. We strongly denounce it.
South Korea convened an emergency meeting and vowed to take tough action.
정부는 북한이 우리와 국제사회의 거듭된 경고를 무시하고
Our government strongly condemns North Korea ignoring repeated warnings from us and the international community and pushing ahead with the fourth nuclear test, which clearly violates the UN resolution.
육자회담 참가국을 포함한 국제사회와
The United Nations Security Council will hold an emergency meeting to discuss the violation of 4 resolutions passed against North Korea. The White House has also vowed appropriate response to North Korea's provocations.
India has expressed deep concern at the nuclear tests conducted by North Korea, saying it can affect the peace and stability of the region. India is also wary of the situation, considering it is fully aware of the proliferation links between North Korea and its immediate neighborhood, Pakistan.
North Korea tested a hydrogen bomb, which is much more powerful than a usual uranium-based atomic bomb. Although the UNSC previously reprimanded North Korea, will the action taken this time finally deter the country from developing and testing nuclear weaponry? With Maha Siddiqui, Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining me now is our correspondent in Beijing to get a sense of that big story. Anand Krishnan joining me from Beijing. Anand, what was first felt as an earthquake near a nuclear site in North Korea soon turned out to be the testing of a hydrogen bomb. North Korea announcing it successfully conducted that test, triggering tremors of 5.1 magnitude. Significant, it condemned by neighbors and other parts of the world. The United Nations holding an emergency meeting. But in the absence of any independent confirmation, do you think there is a need to doubt what North Korea is claiming? Because nuclear experts are casting a doubt over that the device may be less powerful than a hydrogen bomb?
Well, there has been a lot of doubt on whether this hydrogen bomb test is indeed successful or not. For one, experts are saying that the level of seismic activity that they measured this time was pretty comparable to the previous test 2 years ago. And if it was indeed a hydrogen bomb, there should have been a considerable difference in seismic activity. And one leading expert that we spoke to in Beijing, who has followed North Korea's nuclear program, said, in fact, cast a lot of doubt and said that as far as he was aware, the North simply doesn't have the capability for such a test. So there are serious doubts about whether it is indeed successful.
You know, after owning a hydrogen bomb, how challenging though will it be, Anand, for the world powers to negotiate with the North Korean leadership, given that they've always refused to sort of bend on disarmament negotiations, refused to give up their ever-growing nuclear ambitions, and even a test for the regional balance of power now?
Well, this test indeed has already brought very strong reactions from the neighborhood, especially from Japan and South Korea, that have very tense relations with the North. And what's interesting is even in China, there's a very strong reaction today in Beijing, expressing its firm opposition to the nuclear test. And actually, they are summoning the North Korean ambassador in Beijing. So what this will do is when the UN Security Council meets meets to discuss this test, there's a very high possibility of a new round of sanctions. There's rising tensions again with South Korea and Japan. And so there's a big fear that any move to restart the stalled six-party talks is now completely out of the question.
Okay, that was earlier speaking to Anand Krishnan there from Beijing to get a sense of that big international story.